This is TWiT.
I want to tell you about some wonderful things that I got in the mail recently, and of course, email. Father Artez has been building the Pineboard, and he had a few scruffles in the front, but he got it, and it works great, so he say, and we're excited because I don't think that he's built a lot, if anything at all, and so I'm really happy that a lot of people are getting into building. It's so important to build some things, and he did, and we're thrilled. We're thrilled. Well, one of the things I want to touch on today is things about troubleshooting. I have a lot of questions about that. How do you troubleshoot this stuff? And with anything that you build, test, you're trying to test the one that's been built, whatever, you have to do a couple of things. And here's what I do. And there's so many different ways. But first of all, this is the power supply. And what you want to do is before you turn it on, want to make sure all the connections are proper. I had one this week, and the guy had a 20 mic capacitor backwards. It's easy to do because sometimes the markings are hard to see. So here's what you do. Here's where we start. You want to disconnect everything above here, and you only want to connect the secondary to the plates. Now, this is in the tube. The same will apply for the bridge. But I'm doing the tube because you also can then check the filament. You want to make sure the filament is working and lighting up the tube. But before you go too far with all of this, don't forget you're dealing with some high voltage. So you want to get out your chipstick. And if you don't know about your chipstick, then you want to go to the past episodes. Go to heilsound.com. Down at the bottom of the page, all of the videos are there. Let me get that up there for you. The chipstick. Deal there is you take this clip and put it on the ground. And then you take that little guy right there, and you want to touch it to any of the high voltage places, because there will be some voltage on there, even though you've turned it off. But what you do, take a voltmeter, and you'll want to go in and measure. After you turn this on, watch it. We're dealing with high voltage now. Turn it on. And first of all, I always measure the AC. See if you have good, I think we get about 400 volts across there. 300 is whatever your transformer puts out, because you might have a different transformer. 6.3 volts here. Turn it on. See that the filament's lit. Then check the DC voltage at pin 8. That's the output of the DC voltage. Now remember what I told you, disconnect all of this. And then turn it off with your chipstick coupled to the ground, this little clip right here. You want to make sure you hold that on there for just a little bit. You know, there won't be any caps to charge, but you're not going to trust it. Then you hook up the first capacitor and the first dropping resistor. Go ahead and hook those up. Make sure it plus goes here, minus goes there. This is the center tap of the transformer. Take your voltmeter, see what you have here. You should have 350 volts or so. Come out here, make sure you won't have much different here because we're not drawing any current yet. Turn things back off. Get the old chipstick out. And you really want to watch it now because you're going to see some sparks. Don't have put your hands in your pocket. Couple the clip this guy to ground right there. And you want to hold that till you have no voltage. I always keep a voltmeter on this thing so I know there's nothing happening. Okay, good. Move forward. Go back and install the second capacitor and the bleeder resistor. This is really important because now what's going to happen when you turn things on, check to see if you have 350 or so volts here. Come through and see if you have it here. But then it's going to drop a little bit because we have put a dropping resistor across the capacitors so that when you turn things off, it will bleed that high voltage to ground. Continue on. Check to make sure you have B plus here. Now this B plus is only going to be maybe usually around 150, 180, 200 volts. Why? Because we have brought it through the dropping resistors. So you're going to have about 350 here. And you see there, we take that off to the final. The final does not need as much of the filtering. It still gets that guy, but that goes on to the final. This comes on down through the resistor and another cap, and we did that to clean up a little bit of the DC, and this will go to the preamp. And that's how you're going to check your power supply. But you want to do it in stages. And this is the best way to do it. Little at a time. It's the same thing with anything. Disconnect all of this. Check this first. Sometimes I even check this before I plug the tube in to make sure there aren't any little spurs or shorts within what I built around the tube socket. Then plug in the tube. Of course, you got to turn it off each time you're playing with high voltage here, folks. Plug the tube in, and as I said, go through that one, put those components back in, put those components back in. This is how we troubleshoot things. And to answer some questions, I've had a few guys ask me about different voltages. We've run this several times, but here are the voltages of the transmitter. And I think you'll be able to be okay here, seeing all of this, and it's going to help you understand what's necessary for voltage. The plate is going to have around 330 volts. The screen's going to be about 95. These are going to be plus or minus. They don't have to be just that, but they're not going to be like 100 and a quarter and 10. Down here on the modulator, it's 340 on the plate, and it's 250 on the screen. And of course, this is all, I should have started the other way. This is when you put that 350 in. This is coming, remember, from the power supply. You're going to put 350 in, going to go down here and get you 2.5 there, 340 on the plate of the 6V6. It's going to give you about 330 on the plate of the final and 95 on the screen. So those should help you. It's all just taking time and checking it step by step. That's really the only thing you want to think about when you're doing any kind of troubleshooting. A little bit at a time, and disconnect everything and start easy. Let it go on through, and that's the best advice I can give you.